Okay, well, we just got one quest left. Our last one. Let's go turn in a mask. Guys, I'm home. I look a little different. I brought a friend. No. As the Ibex camp draws closer, the imagined threshold between home and gliding is palpable. It reminds me of coming in from a sandstorm, so fierce that the grains have whipped through the air and through your clothes. You peel off the layers of sand-beaten fabric and marvel at the dust on your skin, the bits that manage to get through despite every precaution. And though you feel so grateful to be home and so comforted by the safety of the indoors, you can't help but smile, nostalgic as you wash the sand away. What an adventure you've had, and it was only for you. Am I ready to choose my mask now? There's no going back if I do. I think I'm ready. But am I really ready? Oh, don't do this to me! Yes! I don't think I have other masks to pick from. Hi guys! I look a little different. Hi. You should love me. Do you not know what I look like? Oh. They're so big. Oh, JD. Oh, I can talk to everyone. Oh. Hi, Sizzo. Sizzo. I will never pronounce your name right. How do you do, clan child? Oh, there's a lot. How is your companion? Smooth. Glad to hear it. Simoon has accompanied and taken care of generations of Ibexi. JD herself rode Simoon out to the Red Sea on her gliding. I've been there. What will happen to Simoon now? Well, it's almost time for Sima's gliding. Simoon will likely accompany her across the dunes. Well, it's perfect because it's a giant bug. I feel a pang of melancholy as I think about losing Simoon. It had to happen one day. Nobody truly owns a bike in the Ibexi, but is merely accompanied by one. I'm grateful to have at least had that blessing. I met a lot of your friends. I know this, and I hope they were good to you and to Simoon. I tell her they were, and she seems to take a bit of pride in that, which is rare to see in her. I ask if she thinks I ought to choose the Machinist Mask, and I might join her order. She crosses her arms and takes time to think. Some will tell you that life of a machinist is lonely. It isn't, and not only because we are assigned to clans, who so often welcome us into their numbers. No, it's more. It's because we're never truly alone. As you were never truly alone on your gliding, you went with Simoon. I think of the moments where I sat looking at some map, or hiding from some foul weather, or trying to get over a sudden bout of very powerful homesickness. And Simoon gave me a little hum that I could feel through my legs. You have a very special bike, Sable. I nod. As you returned, I sat on the tower and I heard Simoon's purr grow to a roar, and in it the traces of those whose work has helped give her shape. She speaks with many voices now, and that resonance seems to shiver. That's why we do what we do. If that appeals to you, then I can only recommend it. Thank you. Hi, Sima. So you came back. Sima crosses her arms, a challenge. I tell her I had to come back because when I left, some minuscule little beetle hunting, part stealing menace threw a fit about it and couldn't stop crying because she missed me so much. She nods. Yes, JD took it very hard. I can't help it. I laugh, and I think in doing so I let her win. I tell her I missed her. I missed you too, Sable. I'm happy you came back. Though I can practically see the pout beneath her mask, I'm impressed at how genuine she's able to sound. Even if you don't end up staying long. I ask what Simon would think if I chose the Beetle Mask. I think you'd look pretty silly. But you'd look silly in every mask. Good. Love that. Miss this one. Definitely. I think it would be a little like getting to play all the time. And have a lot of pets. Plus, maybe you get to speak beetle language. I always see beetles go up to each other and do dances and click around and hiss and everything. And maybe they're saying things. So if you want to speak beetle, you could do that. She shrugs. I don't know. All masks are different, and it's not really going to matter once I'm on my gliding and get to come and visit you. I ask Sima if she means to come and bother me. If you're bothered, that's you, but I'm going to come and visit. I can't help but laugh. I tell her I'm looking forward to it. I ask if she's going to cry again if I leave. I don't think so, for 2 reasons. She counts them off on her fingers. 1, because it's already happened once, so now I'm used to it. 2, because soon it's going to be my gliding, which I'm going to stay on forever. So I can just go on my bike and chase you down, wherever you go. I tell Sima she can't stay on the gliding forever, and that she will have to choose a mask. Then I'll choose the mask of the bounty hunter. I say that isn't a real mask. Yes, it is. I say it's not. She shrugs. Guess you didn't find it then. I tell her no, it isn't real, and that if it were real, I would have found it. I don't think so. It's really hard to find, that's part of it. To become a bounty hunter, you have to be a hunter. I ready my next response, but choose to hold my tongue, lest I lose what maturity I gained on my gliding. Simon makes a broad gesture that I think is meant to emulate the knocking of an arrow in a bow. Good luck, Sable. Who's next? Hi. Is there something I want to discuss with Driss? Oh my god, there's so much. How's it been? How have you managed the clan while I was gone? Chaotic as ever, which I think you should be pretty happy about. I asked Driss why he thinks I want that for him. Because it means it wasn't you. Well, of course it wasn't. Out of respect, I decide not to tell Driss that it may indeed be him who's at the heart of so much chaos. Instead, I simply assert it very clearly wasn't me. Well, you never know. You're still young, and youth usually comes with its share of chaos. Or at least it should. Anyhow, you're off the proverbial hook. How nice for me. I tell Driss I'm considering the Scrapper's Mask and ask what he thinks about it. The Scrapper's Mask? You? Really? I'll tell you, Sable, I wouldn't have pegged you for it, but you've always had quite the imagination, haven't you? More of an inner monologue. Yeah, well, I think that's a good trait for a scrapper. You need to be able to see the beauty in the scraps, you know? And that takes a very creative brain. I think a lot of folks see scrappers and think they're just rubbish pickers, you know? But if you can look at something old and dream up something new, then I think you've got it, and I support you every scrap of the way. Haha. I thank Driss for his advice. I'd like to relitigate the sandcutter incident. I asked Driss once and for all if on that faithful day of my gliding, he had actually forgotten to help out with my bike, and if the test ride on the sandcutter was a sly cover-up. He cocks his head. What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. I tell him that he knows very well what I'm talking about, and he shakes his head. No idea. I remember the whole bike thing going very smoothly. Plus, you took the sandcutter out and you didn't even get a little bit on fire. Great stuff. I accept his response. I suppose even the gliding cannot be the answer to all things. You. Hi, Eccria. You were so little. It's strange how children change so much over such a short period. Eccria's grown, and she'll always be a child to me. You've grown! She subconsciously stands a little taller and prouder as I say the words. I can't help but smile, remembering all the times adults would say, "Oh, how you've grown," to me as a child. Well, you've not grown at all. I haven't just grown, I can climb way higher now. Zeki hates it. It's great. Simon will leave for her gliding soon. At least you'll be back now. I don't have the heart to tell her I might not stay with the Ibexi. There's still time to decide, so I hold back. I reveal that I got the climbing mask. Eccria seems to vibrate with excitement and jealousy. I can't believe it. You have to choose it. You will choose it, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? That would just be silly. I don't think I'll get a word in here, so I just let Eccria effusively speak at me for a while, enjoying her passion for something so particular. Being a climber is a pretty solitary existence for the most part, mostly foraging for things that grow in the higher climbs, fixing or salvaging from ships in the high places. But the sights you see, the places you go, it'll be like a continual gliding at times. Would I be comfortable at those heights without the gliding stone? No, not really. It's what saved us this whole time. I like the person over there with a spork and a bucket on their head. Zeki! My child, welcome home. Have you been taking care of yourself? You look rather bony. Are you well? She fusses over me. She would always look for reasons to care for us. That's no good at all, not at all. We had to fix you up with some of JD's lamb stew. It's good to be back. I might choose the entertainer's mask. Oh, an entertainer's mask. I see you are kept busy with young ones on your gliding too. Everybody needs a bit of levity now and then. It's an important part of life, valued by many. But you know the Ibexi are not in a position to accommodate such trifles. Fun and games are just that. If you pick this mask, you'll have to find a richer clan to join. We can't afford it. I hope you think carefully about what mask you choose, Sable. I mean, as an entertainer, wouldn't I be bringing in money? It would help. But hey. Hello! Hi, I missed you. Oh, Sable, it's so good to have you home. I've thought about you so much, just imagining all the excitement. Every time we passed a cliffside, I thought, I bet Sable's just hovering everywhere. You like the climber's mask too? I ask him what he thinks of the climber's mask. They light up straight away, which I think I should have expected. A brilliant mask. There's a lot of really good masks, obviously, but climbing? If you ask me, the worst part of the gliding's end is losing the perpetual stone. To hover forever, to fear nothing from heights or falls, that is an uncommon freedom, and you have to let it go. To me, climbing is the closest thing one gets to keeping that connection between oneself and the perpetual. Just as the stone does, it banishes fear and risk, lets you explore the world's greatest vertical spaces with knowledge and fortitude. I think it's a great mask, and probably would have been my choice had I not fallen so much in love with the Ibexi. I thank Halal for their thoughts and again for the stone they gave me so long ago. So that's like 2 votes for climbers. I asked if they've ever heard of Lore. Oh, of course I have. Not much for travel, you know, but not 2 years ago I made a special trip to Eccria just to see her. Why? Halal, what have you been up to with Lore? Anyway, I tell Halal I met her out in the desert and that we spent a whole evening talking about life and poetry. I add that I think I may have inspired some original work. My date with Lore went better than yours did. That's amazing. So you think... Sorry, I'm so excited. So you think it's possible that next time I see Lore, she might actually read a poem that you inspired? I say yes, it's quite possible. Ask about me. We spent a night in a cave. Now that is a gliding. Who cares what mask you choose? You got to hover around the world and you inspired Lore to write a new poem. If I were you, I'd put on my retirement mask because I'd be done. We laughed together and it feels really, really good. I missed you. Hi, JD. Being back with the Ibexi is more comfortable than I expected. I think I thought the gliding would change every part of me, and that I would come home different. Perhaps more mature, or more jaded, or at least able to grasp more of Driss's jokes or Halal's poetry. The actual change is more subtle, and it's that somehow, despite spending so much time discovering the world beyond, I've never felt more like a part of this clan. And it isn't about being a Bexy or which mask I ultimately choose. It's simply that I no longer feel so behind everyone. Or like they know some grown-up secret I yearn to understand. I feel embraced, wholly, as the person I am, Sable. So now we've heard your stories, or at least the ones you're happy to tell. That means it's nearly time now. Her sigh is contented. I suspect that she was more concerned with my experience of the gliding than the grand choice at its end. For that I'm grateful. Are you ready to choose? Am I? I tell her that, after everything, I'm thinking about choosing the Ibex Mask. You'd be welcome to stay with us. I know there's a lot of pressure to choose something else. So much that it sometimes feels boring to choose the very mask you started with. But all of us were gliders once. And certainly not all of us were a Bexy when we started. We are those who walk in hoof steps and seek our freedom in the desert. Hoof steps? Aww. I like when she stands up straight and then hunches over again. We know movement, the flow of migration, the joy of changing skies and shifting sands. We embrace difference and celebrate connection all at once. I'm proud to be a Bexy, and you may be too. I thank her for putting it so nicely. She leans in for a whisper. And if you aren't, you can still come visit. I won't tell. I tell her I'm ready. She nods. I won't keep you, Sable. If you know what you want, then all I desire is to learn what it is, and to celebrate it with you. I'm allowed to be excited, aren't I? She chuckles. Whenever you're ready, proceed to the temple. Okay, let's go to the temple. Oh, dragonfly. Oh, you're already down there. Oh, I'd already done that part. Oh. What, so I can't use you anymore? I have to set you free? I have to run it? Oh. Don't like that. Okay, I'm not gonna do this during ugly gray hour. I'm going to wait till it's a little bit nicer. So we're just gonna sit here for a minute. Alright, that's a better color. Just took some waiting. Hello. Magical confetti's here. Was I missing one? Over there? No, it's broken. Never mind. Do we have them all? It's far more intimidating with them actually on bodies. Why'd you get the broken one? Ugh, it's creepy whenever it zooms up like that. Do I want to choose the Merchant's Mask? Yeah. A merchant. Truly successful merchants are constantly on the move, trading rare, valuable commodities between clans, nomads, and townspeople. I would probably be able to bring wealth and value to the Ibexi, but the days of enjoying what that brings would be few and far between. If I want to be an effective merchant, most of my days would be spent away from the clan. I'd meet plenty of people, loneliness wouldn't be an issue, but it would be transient in a world of shifting sands. Nope, sounds boring. Do I want to choose a Cartographer's Mask? Yep. I scaled some incredible heights as a glider, but imagine the thrill of navigating my own balloon. The sheer distances I would travel, the unique perspective I would get looking down at people gliding through the desert like little beetles in the sand. I'm sure there are many places to map, histories to uncover and notate, ancient cities not yet uncovered by the sands to survey, and unimaginable landscapes still to discover. Despite this, not many people choose to become cartographers. You leave a lot behind when you're up in the clouds, I suppose. Nope. We're gonna leave that Wyrm for last, because that's gonna be interesting. I want to choose the Beetle Mask. Yeah. Beetles are incredible, resourceful, resilient, beautiful creatures, jewels of the dunes. Taking the mask of the beetle would mean leaving the Ibexi for good and apprenticing at a beetle station. Oh no, we could go back to Ofu, learning the ways of nomad hospitality while studying the beetles in the field. Tending to weary travelers, meeting all kinds of nomads from all over the world. I can picture myself getting distracted from daily duties just listening to their tales. Oh, that's a hard one. Angler's Mask. When I think back to my times of the crests of dunes, my eyes tracking the gentle bob of my lure, I can only picture serenity. Gentle breezes, the faded buzz of crickets, the hiss of shifting sands. Then that sudden tug and explosion of action. The exhilarating rush of adrenaline as the battle of wits and strength begins. That balance of patience and action, there isn't much else that comes close. Am I sure that's what I want? Nope. Climber's Mask. Like the beasts who gave us our name, the Ibexi are no strangers to heights, nor to simple climbs. Too often one of us has had to chase a wandering ibex up the cliffside, best we could, clinging to little rocks below and calling hopefully up after it. Those sorts of climbs are different, and so practical as to be boring. The life of a climber, though, that's so much more. The gliding stone is a temporary gift. It's meant to be a protective shell to allow gliders to make a few mistakes and have a few accidents as they explore for the very first time. But what it also grants is the ability to climb without fear and to taste the triumph of a mountain well scaled and see the world in a new light. Looking at you, sisters. The desert is bigger than I could have ever imagined, and while this has always seemed true across the horizon, seeing it stretch out before me from the top of a great cliff was another experience entirely. One that I'm not happy to give up with the stone. If I wear the Mask of the Climber, it's not simply so that I may help in all those tasks that require climbing, though of course I'll be happy to make it my duty. Rather, if I choose this mask, it's because the gliding has shown me what my heart desires, and that I'm ready to do the work it takes to achieve it, without help. Scrapper! Before I left on the gliding, there was so much I had never seen. Most of the people I'd spent any real time with were the Ibexi, like me, and outside of that it was travelers and short visits, trades, or fleeting moments of connection. My mind, before I left, was a blank slate. Now, from disparate moments, and fleeting encounters and little friendships I made across the sands, there's so much more in there. So many memories and ideas and little creativities, a whole made out of pieces. And what is a scrapper but one who can see the worth in every piece and make something from what looks like first to be nothing? I want to see the old things and the boring and turn them into inspiration. I want to see the forgotten bits of history and use them to inform a future. I want to sift the sand away and see what lies beneath. I think I want to be a scrapper. Well, that's the most, matter-of-fact one so far. Is entertaining for me? No, it's not, Sable. For sure. Bringing smiles to people's faces, joy and entertainment. What's life without these things? I could become a bard or a fabulous or any kind of performer. The one thing I won't be able to do is stay with the Ibexi. Whilst entertaining is crucial for so many, it's not something seen as essential to the way we live. Would they support me if I chose to go this way? Would they be proud? Maybe they'd prefer a machinist or a guard. Ultimately, I have to choose for me. Nope. Machinist! I think of Saizo and all the machine whisperers I've met along the way. They're so different, so unique and disparate, but bound by knowledge, clanhood, and some undefined connection to the world. I enjoy the independence of the gliding, and equally I loved meeting the new people across the desert, learning a little bit about them before going on my way. And certainly I love Simoon, and every late night I spent huddled at her side. I love the sound of her and the smoothness of her ride. I loved her sense of humor, which I suddenly realized I never thought about before. And certainly I can't quite figure out why I've had this thought all of a sudden about a bike that has never made anything more than sounds. But I feel it. Or perhaps it's just the mask. Nope. Would I be happiest staying here with the Ibexi? How could I go anywhere else when all I want is here? The gliding is freedom in 1,000 little moments with 100 different people. But it is also lonely. And travel is only really as good as the ones you travel with. I want to walk the path of the Ibex, and I want to do it with JD, with Driss, with Halal and Saizo. I will never. And yes, even with Saima. It's easy to get used to a place and stop seeing the joy in it. Or to imagine that you've been somehow cast in a life so boring it can't possibly be worth exploring further. But going into the world beyond made me better love the small one I have here. I will not just be Sable, I'll be Ibexi. I'll be proud. I think that's what I want. Okay, so we have two that we're actually, determined on. On second thought. Guard Mask gazes out at me. I remember Elizabeth. Elizabeth was dangerous and daring. She never showed me that side of herself, not really, but for all her laughter and brightness, her self-effacing charm, it was obvious that she carried herself with a confidence that I can only envy, and I know it was born of her work. I could easily imagine that Elizabeth had given directions and gentle advice to the weary travelers of Eccria. I could see her walking children home, helping them to find their caregivers or friends, or tending to a scrapped knee. And I knew just by talking to her that she was well versed in speaking with reason and patience and helping before she hurts. But I also felt her power and the things she was willing to do to keep her people safe. To be a guard, a good one must not care for violence or conflict, but one must know that they are at times necessary to protect those who need it most. There must be fierceness in the work and fierceness in the heart. Could I hold those two in balance half as well as her? And if I can, then is it the path I wish to walk? Nope. Okay, let's get the weird ones. Shade. Do I want to be Batman for the rest of my life? The greatest piece of knowledge I received on my gliding was not from any one person, but from all of them. And it was that there is no nobler task, and indeed nothing more vital in the world, than helping people. Beyond whatever machinations and economies maintain the careful balance and structure of our lives, support and kindness and empathy must be at the core. The shade of Eccria cuts everything else away. The shade seeks only to right wrongs and to help those who need it. They seek to change the world for the better by being better. They make a difference, a real and tangible one. And they live outside of everything else. Maz walks that path, and what's more, he did it with grace, until he found a new calling and was forced to put the shade aside. Perhaps I should pick it up. Nope. Do I want to choose the atomic mask? On the downside, I may be a few hundred years too late for the job, but on the plus side, I look really good in it. Still, probably not enough to turn into a whole calling. Should I really choose this mask? Alright, weird one. Here's what I know about the Sandworm Mask. 1. The last wearer died. 2. I found it in a reeking cave near the body of its maddened creator. 3. It appears to be made out of the flesh of baby worms. Is this the mask I'd like to choose? Yes. Am I sure? No! But I should! We all know what I was gonna pick. Yes, the Chum Mask. Do I want to choose the Chum Mask? Yep. An unusual mask, not one I've seen anyone else wear. I would certainly feel special wearing this as I bound across the dunes, collecting ever more chums for the Queen. Is it the sort of thing other people would understand? Or would I be an outlier, a weirdo obsessively chasing down elusive, mysterious creatures for an ancient telepathic creature? I certainly doubt the Ibexi would be pleased to accommodate me gallivanting around collecting useless things. But when I think back to the feeling of returning the small creatures to their lair, to their joyous little faces dancing away and their happy mother tending to them, I can't help but feel that perhaps this would give me some kind of greater purpose. Is that what I want? Yes! That's the best mask. Yes! I feel a buzz of excitement at the thought of gathering dozens of eggs in my arms yet again, seeing the delight of the Chum Queen as I return them back to her den. No turning back now. I mean, why wouldn't I? Look at this! It would be wrong otherwise. Can I keep it? Please? Well, that was Sable. I loved that. I think I'm going to say that for most games, but I like the fact that you can technically beat the game right at the start. Like the second you get your first mask, you can turn around and go, okay, done with the game. You don't have to like even go into the other places. I find it cool that it lets you do that. And the fact that there was absolutely no combat in it, or really any kind of scare. There was like no death. There was no way of getting yourself killed even if you tried. It definitely has a unique look too, though. Not many games have that same kind of style. Charming, that would be the word to describe it. Quirky and charming. And very chill. You can just go and roam around and just see all the pretties. There's a lot to it. I mean, you've probably seen me do it, but it's different whenever you do it yourself. And you might not break it as much as I did, and you'll probably find different ways of doing things. If you haven't played it yet, I'd say give it a shot. I mean, you don't have to go around and collect everything as obsessively as I did, but it's got quirk. And it looks like there's a bunch of different little, like, endings. Though I'm going to guess, once you pick your mask, you just run out and you do the same animation. I don't know, I think everyone would experience it differently. I have the link to the game in the description. You just pop down there, click on the thing, and go get it. You have to tell me what your favorites are if you play it. Like what your favorite masks are and what your favorite bikes are. Leave it in the comment. If you've played it before, what did you choose? I want to know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here before I keep rambling. Thanks for stopping by, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye!